This is a tutorial to help you think through question 3 on practice number 2 on constructed responses on Edulastic. So for this particular question, you're actually editing a constructed response that's already been written for you, but it has some mistakes. And the reason I'm having you do this is because a lot of times it's easier to fix someone else's mistakes than to see our own mistakes, but it makes us more aware of the mistakes when we're making it. And also, it's a good way to think through doing constructed responses without writing the whole constructed response by yourself. So in this response, I've included some mistakes that I see students make a lot so that we get used to fixing those mistakes. So what you're going to do is read through this, and then for your answer, you're going to copy and paste this constructed response into your answer box. And then you're going to make changes to it and edit it as it needs to be edited. You might not be able to copy and paste it. If that's the case, you're just retyping it, but then you're making the changes that you need to. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the changes that actually need to be done. So if you're not sure what you need to do for this question, this should help you a lot. Okay, so the question that we're answering here is, how does the author use figurative language in this poem? Support your response with text evidence. And as I did in the audio video for this poem, there's a lot of figurative language in this poem. Like, it's not literally true what he's picturing. He's just using all these kind of images and stuff to describe the kind of happiness he feels when he reads poetry. So let's look at this example response, and then we're going to talk about what the problems are. So the author uses figurative language in this poem. Ink runs from the corners of my mouth. Here, the author is not literally eating book pages, but he uses this description to show that the poetry has become a part of him as he reads it. The author also writes, I'm a new man. Okay, so let's use this checklist that I've given you to think through some of the mistakes in this constructed response. Follows racer. Okay, so it does repeat words from the question. We have figurative language, poem, author, okay? But it doesn't actually answer the question. It doesn't explain actually how the author uses it. It just repeats words from the question. So that's going to be something I need to fix. It doesn't use A. All right, cites evidence. Well, it does have a quote here from the passage, and it has another quote here from the passage. So it does have evidence, okay? It does explain evidence right here. Oh, but it doesn't explain evidence here at the end, this evidence. Okay, it doesn't explain how that connects with the claim. So it's using some of racer, but not all of it. And there's some other weaknesses that are gonna pop up as we go through the rest of these questions, okay? It has at least 5 sentences. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. So it's missing that explanation here. The claim answers the question. Well, we already talked about that earlier, but no, it does not. It just uses words from the question, repeats those words. It does not answer the question. Does it use transitions? Well, it does here. The author also. Okay, so there is one. Introduces the quotation. Okay, here, this piece of evidence is not introduced. This one is, so I don't need to fix this one here. The explanation goes beyond summarizing what the quotation means. Well, in this one it does. It really connects well with explaining this use of figurative language and how the author is using it. So this is a really great piece of explanation, and I don't need to change it at all. But again, we're totally missing the explanation here. And I need to make sure I don't just say, the author's a new man. I need to make sure that my explanation here explains what he means by this phrase figuratively. So I think what he's trying to say is that when he reads this poetry, he feels like it changes him. Okay, and I need to say that in my explanation. And then it explains how the evidence supports my claim. Well, again, that first piece of explanation does, but the second does not. Okay, and then I need to introduce my quotation here. First of all, the author writes, comma, and I need to add my quotation marks. Okay, so those are the things that really need change in here to make this a good constructed response.